Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Hey, folks, how you doing, man? These things happen. Iris, who's actually, I don't know, I think she's confused or something, but we did confirming emails back and forth, and but she's booked for today and Friday, so I think I might have to fill in for her shoes. As soon as she pops on, I get a sound, and we've had other people pop on late. She confirmed she was going to be here 7 minutes early because I know you guys, we're using your time to, that you make available. It's give and take, right? So we need to be on time, and if not early, early doesn't help that much, I guess. I got this new thing back here, and I'm trying to work it into my deal. So, hey, glad you guys are all here. Starting to show up. I see somebody just popped on. Appreciate your time here. Believe it or not, we do appreciate your time. I'm going to try and get this out of the way. That looks pretty good. I hope the sound is still good. Thanks, guys. Everybody coming on. I appreciate it. So this is, hopefully Iris is going to show up, and we'll find out. I always confirm with people to show up 7 minutes early because I know this is your guys' time. You're giving us your time. Now, it's a trade, and so we're giving you, in return for that trade, but we have to have people here to do that. So I'm going to fill in for Iris today, unless she pops in here real quick. She just sent me an email yesterday. Hey, with the link, I can verify that I will be there at 7 a.m. tomorrow. At 7 a.m. 7 minutes early tomorrow. So I don't know if there's some emergency or something happened, but let's do this. We got a couple of really good episodes coming up, and it's I'm dying to talk about AI and all that, but let's do this. I'm going to present. We're gonna move on the fly here. I hope I don't screw up like what happened yesterday. It's all a learning process, and it's all fun to do. So I take risks, at your guys' expense. Let's see, slides, share screen. We did this yesterday. Here's that. I'm going to do this. I want to share this one. I'm going to do this. All right. So, and I'm going to leave myself up this time because we didn't have such a good, I think that's where part of the problem was. And then it just kept flipping around. Hey, a few more people getting on. Appreciate it, folks. So I brought this up because we've got a number of great guests coming up. I mean, this goes on for pages and pages. But this is some of the things that I worked through, myself and a couple other people worked through. And this is our main forum, although people email me all the time. So we do things from outside of this forum. Like, for instance, I have a phone call with a lady in Oregon a little bit later today, right after the show, actually, and before the next one. And I don't know, we got in contact on, I think it was TikTok. I think it was Facebook. And she has like 100,000 followers on TikTok. And anyway, she's got this awesome message and just really cool energy. We're going to be talking. She's not in this format, I don't think. Anyway, we talked about it, never went that direction. But here, I'm going to talk about Kyrie here in a little bit. She's coming up at 1:30 today. Very, very interesting story. We'll talk about it in a minute. Iris is really excited about doing this program with her for a couple of different reasons. If you look here, honoring people with uplifting and interactive social events. But here's what's coming up: passion, creativity, union, social communication, awards-winning poetry, fun, fun, fun. So I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I'm all over that. I just got 2 of my physical things that I did a really good workout in the gym this morning. And then, of course, I then jumped on the Peloton and got some real good sweat out. So I'm feeling really, oh, before I go on, I got, oh, wait, she's here. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Hey, check it out. My son, one of my sons just sent me this he sent it out in the mail to us. Okay, I don't have to embarrass my subscribers and myself anymore. Iris is here, and we were just going through your stuff, Iris. I'll bring you on in a second. I'm hoping I'm saying, give me a thumbs up. Iris Barrett, correct? Was that a thumbs up? Yeah. Thumbs up. All right. So that's our introduction to Iris. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm not going to just remove it, though. Oh, I hope I don't get myself into a mess like I did. Stop screen. There we go. All right. Hey, I'm back.
Time stuff. So yes, here we are. Thank you.
We did not hear anything that you said. You were in the green room.
Okay.
And I was talking, and I didn't know if you were talking, but usually we meet back there, right? And we go through some details, and then we jump on. I had to go on only because well, I am selfish. I am a little egocentric. Aside the fact that has nothing to do with what I was going to say. I have to go on because these folks here, watch, they'll start. As you get going, they're going to start asking you questions because they're here because you're here. And then we got to go over Friday. I'm kind of confused on a couple of things here, but
Me too.
Yeah, so we can talk about that after the show's over or whatever. You don't have any hard stop or anything, do you?
No, sir.
All right. I have a little bit of one, so I'm going to just kind of manage, but we usually go at least an hour. We're at 7 minutes now, so it'll probably be an hour and 15 minutes. I assume there's going to be questions. Your bio is awesome. And I was just telling people that I am really excited about this show because of many reasons. Uplifting, interactive, social events is my passion. Create unity, social and communication skills, awards, and you came on right when I was getting to that part, and poetry fun. And I'm like, I'm a poet. I've written thousands of poems. I was even going to bring up my allpoetry.com. I've got a few examples there. As a matter of fact, I have a channel that's devoted to that's where you're going, the playlist, inner development and poetry. And I'm looking for voice people because I like talking, but I don't like reading my stuff. And so I want to get some voice people in there and do some, so you're not just watching me read off the sheet of paper. That's not quite attractive. But with that, hey, Ira, I mean, we've talked about everything, including the poetry, because I want to dive into that aside. But what we usually do is you're on a journey, right? I mean, you're on a really cool journey here, and with a message, and it's all of it, and it aligns so much with what we talk about every day, which is cool. I'm going to do something again. You saw me standing up. I wanted to explain what I was doing. You probably heard me though. Actually, you did hear me, huh? I was showing off. My kids sent me this because they're all into it now. I've got grandkids, and even one of my granddaughters texted me the other. I'm following you. I'm going, ooh, that's so awesome.
That is,
isn't it? I mean, it's really cool. So it's a good thing. I earned granddaughter. She's earned granddaughter. I've earned grandpa, right? So that's always a very cool thing. But what I was getting at was, you were on a journey. You got a mission, you got a thing, you got a vibe, you got all that going on. And I still want to talk about poetry, by the way. I'm going to put it because that's fascinating to me. But there was a journey before the journey. I mean, you could start when you were born. I don't know, but somewhere along the line, affects life. You know, stuff happens, and then we already got our first question here. I didn't even read it yet. Stuff happens, and then that puts you on a journey.
Yes.
Start there, wherever that is.
When I was young, I discovered the joy of honoring people anonymously. I realized that
I
if
saw
I
that.
honor people anonymously, then I could express what was in my full heart. And I learned that it was all about unconditional love, and that it's actually a way to demonstrate. It's one thing to talk about unconditional love. It's another thing to actually demonstrate it. And that's where the power is. And so I eventually started, again, anonymous poetry, anonymous awards. I found all different kinds of ways to honor people anonymously. And I found the power of it, the anonymous voice, the unexpected surprise.
How did that come up? Are you going there right now? Because that's a really interesting concept. It's one thing to honor people, right?
Yes.
It's one thing to praise them or to be there in grief times. But when you do that anonymously, I think it has another higher level of impact.
It does, because there's no agenda.
Right.
There's no agenda. There's no need for recognition.
How'd you get there? What happened?
What got there was when my oldest daughter was born, my heart totally flew wide open. I never experienced such
that picture.
Love. Yeah. And also I had an aunt who lived next door who was very kind and very wonderful to me. And I wanted to express it to her. And what's so funny is I wrote this wonderful anonymous note, left it in her car, and I figured she was so wonderful. There's no way she would ever figure out it came from me. And I didn't know that she knew it until literally when she was pretty much on her deathbed. She said, I saved all those little notes that you sent to me. I had no idea she knew all that time.
That's huge, isn't it? Now that was returned back to you, because when somebody gets it, although she probably recognized your handwriting being your aunt or whatever, but whatever it was, or she maybe spied on you and saw you, spied on the cards.
I don't think so. I think she just intuitively knew somehow.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, then that was, what a special moment for you, right?
Truly.
Because you felt good doing that and supporting her anonymously, and that's a lift. That's a building of the inner self, right? And we talk a lot about that. You got to build up within.
And giving unconditionally without an agenda is so wonderful.
That's it.
And when you look for the good, you find it. It's amazing how it really is out there.
There's a lot of it out there.
And having all of these 22 honoring awards to give to people, it's so easy for me to pick the caregiver to honor, to pick the mother to be honored, to pick who gets childlike wonder. It's just, it's such a beautiful thing. And other people have been through my Etsy shop honoring people anonymously too. They have me send them the award, sometimes with a gift note, but they get into the whole anonymous giving thing. And that makes me really happy.
How is that program set up? I was reading on all on that, but there's a vessel. I don't know if that's the right word, or a path, or how that works.
Yeah.
But how is that set up? That's interesting.
I have an Etsy shop, and it's called.
What is an Etsy shop?
Etsy is an online marketplace, essentially.
Okay. So that's a place. Like we have a school, SKOL, Etsy. Is that what I hadn't heard of it? What's it like?
And my shop is called Evolving Genius Awards.
Okay.
And so if you search Etsy, ETSY, Evolving Genius Awards, you can see all of the 22 honoring awards or 24 honoring awards that I can send anonymously or with a gift note, and my Sassy Wake Up Call Awards, and every ebook I've written, and these event programs that I'm so incredibly fond of.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, so that's all on this Etsy community? Is that, okay. Cause you say shop, there's different ones out there. Like
that's a marketplace. Discord.
It's a marketplace. Okay.
Yes.
So
where people can download my ebooks, where people can say, hey, I got $4 or $5. I want you to send this amazing certificate of sainthood award to my caregiver, or an honorary caregiver award. And then I will send it anonymously, and they'll see that it was sent on purpose. I send my wonderful poem, Honoring Builds a Circle of Nobility, because
so
it
you're
does.
including poems in those. Each
do.
poem is
So
connecting dots now. Go ahead.
So all of the awards are kind of cute because they're rhyming. And then I have my poem, Honoring Builds a Circle of Nobility, and a list of all of the awards that I offer.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool program, man. Hey, by the way, before we end up the day, especially on this topic, be sure you can't put it directly into the chat, but I mean, you're here for a reason, to pass this message along. And you know how it works. People come in a month from now, or a week from now, or a year from now, because they haven't seen it, and they go, "Oh, that's kind of cool." You know, it goes out live. So, by the way, I get asked this question a lot by guests. It goes out live, so you'll see it immediately, whether you have LinkedIn or YouTube or
Thank you.
Instagram and so forth. But we also, you'll see in about a week and a half, we'll be clipping out little parts of shorts in there and sending that out to our social media, because this message is really important. And we're about empowering the great middle class. So leave your contact information, because they're going to ask me a question, comment, and I'm not the expert. You are. So it's easier to go that way.
Got it.
All right.
I love this first question, or I love this first comment. May I address it?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is such a beautiful approach to peace building. Thank you, Iris.
Yes.
And I have to say that the first thing I really learned about myself, being a Libran, I guess, but I came in as a peacemaker, and it's very important to me. And all of my honoring events that I promote and that I share really are grounded in my inner peacemaker. Because here's the thing. When you have a positive form of play, like my spontaneous honoring storytelling event or game, when people have positive forms of play, it creates friendship. And friendship leads to trust. And trust leads to peace and harmony. And the day, honestly, I can share this with you, but the day that I realized that my simple process is, you bring the brilliance with the storytelling to light. You bring the brilliant honoring. I provide a simple format. And when I realized that my simple formats can easily be translated into other languages, my little inner peacemaker cried because it's
you said multiple languages, right?
Pardon?
You said multiple languages that these are all translated into.
They're getting there. It was just translated in. One of them was just translated into Polish. So.
Oh wow! Have you ever heard it? Have you ever heard it in any other language?
No, it's in written format.
Oh, gotcha. Well, you can't read Polish. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I have experienced some of it in Spanish, and my inner peacemaker is what drives the bus. Whether you want to call that my spiritual guidance that influences my inner peacemaker, all of my inner values that support and promote peace, very important to me. And I really appreciate that was recognized.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're going to see there's a lot of thirst for the middle class being empowered, right?
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about here, and knowing the information to be able to come together and do things, because we have different subjects, so our topics, so they're different levels of accessibility, but in some cases people aren't aware because the focus is over somewhere else, in our everyday lives. And then the elites have a lot more access to information that empowers the lives of the great middle class. And that's the backbone of any economy, right? I say America, but by extension, the world, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So yeah, this stuff being recognized is
well, and here's
these platforms.
Here's the key that I really want, because you're going to get it. I know you will, Rod. When we learn to honor other people and we find the joy in that, we learn to honor ourselves, and it
100%.
creates a sacred circle. That is why my poem is called Honoring Builds a Circle of Nobility, because it absolutely does. And when you enjoy the fabulous fun of honoring other people unconditionally, and then you learn to honor yourself, that's when everything in your reality really seriously shifts.
Yeah. It's when you become authentic, right? At that
Absolutely.
point, you're, and we've talked a lot about this show because of I'm here for a reason, not just because I like looking at my face and seeing how everything looks,
how handsome you are,
and listening to my voice and
how
all
lovely
that.
it is.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. And but it comes from a mental breakdown, and there's issues. And I had a motorcycle accident that broke every bone on the left side of my body, and then a year later exactly a stroke, and then so there became a moment in time and some other things where it just, so I had to start writing. You talk about the release, the energy you can pull from other things. And so that started, and with the mental breakdown, we started really opening. We started in just a few topics, but now, these things are critical to what's going on today, because it's just now being recognized, because people aren't recognized.
Yes.
That's
and we need unity.
Man.
We need unity.
Exactly.
And I love this question. How can we start honoring storytelling with our own families? And I'll tell you what, I consider this program for 8 years and above. And when you see the children honoring their parents, it is just so, so beautiful. And you'll be amazed at how many smart little 8-year-olds have the ability to honor their parents. And what I'd like to say about this program, every program that I offer has one central theme in the middle. And I have 90 keywords. I call them wisdom words: love, trust, truth, unity, joy, adventure, honesty, laughter. 90 key words. And so it's really easy when you put those together with my beginning sentences for people to make up honoring stories about each other. And I have fabulous story prompts, and they're more what I consider humanitarian or visionary. Which, do you want to hear my definition of a visionary?
100%.
Based on my own experience, a visionary is one who is inspired and haunted by humanitarian ideals and endeavors. That would be me.
I can totally, I get that. I mean, it makes sense. If you're just happy all the time, or you're just devastated all the time, you don't know what is up or down and what's real. But if you go through experiences, then you become a visionary to make your life, and something else better. I get that. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so the question about that, the answer to that real quickly is that if you look up Etsy.com and Evolving Genius Awards, because that's my shop, you can look up, I call it Noble Storytellers and Wisdom Keepers. I also pretty much call the same program Honoring Improv, because basically it's spontaneous honoring storytelling. And, improv is so popular all around the world. People love it. It's creative. It's fun. It can be funny. And
I've
yet add the
honoring
to it, and everything shifts. Here's my tagline for my programs. Okay. When we take our honoring, our laughter, and our applause seriously, we create everlasting happy memories together. Because we do. 100%. And people thrive in the business, community, at home, within families. It just brings me such incredible joy. And this grandma's on a mission.
Grandmas are awesome. Almost as awesome as grandpas.
Absolutely. We're right in there.
I'm going to arm wrestle you for that title there.
You may.
Let's go back to the little family sprinkle we were talking about there. I like weird word. Oh, by the way, I do want to go back to the family because I want to see what that looks like. I like that word because there's a description, and then it looks like now you got the next level of picture. but you brought about how 8-year-olds are really a lot of smart 8-year-olds out there, and then honoring their parents brings them to the next level. We have a discussion with somebody who reached out to me from South Africa. We do interviews from all around. We got a little pocket of followers or fans in Sweden, and they're active as hell. And because we have a lot of the same issues, they're a land
Yes.
of middle class, so it's not just this. And so all those issues, and one of them actually came onto our show earlier on. Another one flew out here. They're just very, very cool people, and they have a beautiful land, and they have those same issues that are going on. So that person in South Africa is going to talk about empowering, what you call them, kidpreneurs, like entrepreneurs, but because teaching that at a very early age, that kids, empowering kids is the whole concept. And you're right.
Lovely.
They're smart. We got to guide them, man. And these awards. So back to the original point, the family thing. What does that look like? So is it like family night and kids come out and say, Dad, you're the awesomest mom. I mean, how does that, I know it's, like you said, improv, but they go through, they have a program and they do some things like a game.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
It's very simple.
Fill that in.
Well, and so people can just download the program, and it guides you along very simply. And it's fun too, because we have game names that are a lot of fun, especially if you're working in a pub and you don't want to give your real name. But basically, you have a story prompt like voted most likely to help an overburdened caregiver with caring hands. They're all big picture or visionary, which is what I wanted to mention about my story prompts. So people can write their own story prompts. Maybe your story prompt is being the first person to volunteer to serve at a food bank. Who knows? So everybody gets a story prompt. They look at these beautiful beginning sentences of what they love and appreciate about people. And then they just use the beginning sentences and make up honoring stories about people. And spiritual groups, schools, libraries.
Yes, there's one coming up here. Yeah.
Honoring is totally universal. And really, all of those spiritual words are my foundation. I call them wisdom words, but they are our values. They are our virtues. All of those words are incredibly important, and getting comfortable with them and using them and finding our honoring voice. I want to start new traditions of honoring all around the world, because honoring is so incredibly important. Everybody wins. Everyone wins. That's the beauty of it. Thank you. I'm wisdom. Yes, George. And here's one other thing.
Don't go in yet. I had the timing right and I missed the button. Honoring is becoming a trend. Our society is changing and evolving. We've gone through a lot of shifts.
Amen.
Unfortunately, the pendulum always swings here versus where everybody lives. We're all in the middle. I mean, we lean a little here in our interests, lean a little here in our interests. But basically, if you're I don't care your ethnicity, your background, your whatever, if you're my neighbor with 2 kids and a wife, and we have that same issue to talk about that we talk around the dinner table on. So it's so refreshing that these things are starting to come together.
Amen.
Because we've been in boxes forever, right?
Yeah.
COVID and all that. But I think that's not entirely what's the word? Not totally undesigned. Not
right.
That's not all by accident there.
Yes.
And so it's good that reversal's coming. And I love how that stuff comes together, especially thanks for the heart-centered wisdom.
Storytelling is powerful. And what I want to say to you, my precious ones, is that honoring and storytelling are both time-honored peacemaking traditions in every culture. And our culture's terrible at it. We don't celebrate all the milestones. I have a program called, honoring tributes. We need to honor the milestones, and honoring storytelling is absolutely a peacemaking tradition around the world. And I want to bring it, especially to the United States of America, with the current divisiveness that we have. Storytelling is powerful. And you add the honoring, and then you see what happens. And, we don't sit around the campfire as grandparents anymore and share our wisdom with the kids very often. We have to take the time to
remind me of what you
share our
just said.
wisdom. Go.
Yeah, so thank you. So I was just talking about this yesterday. We do a 7 a.m. Well, start out 7. It varies depending, because people want it. Oh, by the way, we're sitting at about 250 people right now. So you're capturing an audience that's thirsting for this kind of stuff, as we've already talked about. Yeah. But the I forgot my point now. What was I talking about?
We're talking about being around the campfire as grandparents and sharing our wisdom with kids.
So yeah, the grandfire. First of all, the
elders, the wise ones.
The fire is a great scene. I love that. I mean, I remember doing that with the kids growing up, Boy Scouts, and just camping and all sorts of stuff. But what you talk about, the grandparents, the elder generation passing down, that's I never thought about that, but I heard a long time ago when I was a younger kid how bummed isn't the right word, but I'm using it. Elder people are when people don't want the knowledge they have. Something's going on, and they've experienced that. And
it's true, we do.
They want to give so much, but then the younger generation, testosterone and all that,
and distractions.
Distractions and belief. At 23, you believe you know more than you will at 50, and it's shocking to find these milestones in life when you get to them. I've looked back when I was 50 and go, holy fuck, I was a really stupid ass kid. I mean, really. And a lot of people don't realize how unimportant it is for them to express opinions versus receive information. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Exactly.
If you're talking about something, you're giving hopefully somebody some information. If you're listening to a point, back to the people who know, you're gaining invaluable knowledge that you can then also pass on. But if you're only talking and not listening, you're running out of gas, man.
Yeah. And this is a wonderful
I love that.
These programs are great because they do enhance our communication skills, our listening skills, our honoring skills.
Exactly.
And I love this question. How do you handle emotional moments during honoring sessions? Sometimes people are touched so deeply that they cry, and they're just overwhelmed. Thank you so much, because our intuitive ability to honor people sometimes is absolutely beyond measure. It's incredible. The other thing I've experienced is I was doing an honoring for someone, and she started to cry, and she said, this is really hard for me to hear because I don't feel that way about myself right now. And everybody went, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. We all go through that. That's important. That's understandable. And we all shared, deep empathy. And she just, had a moment with herself. And then we went on with the honoring and ended it all on a high note. And that was so beautiful. And could honoring storytelling, go ahead.
I was going to say, I could imagine that going a couple different directions. One, and I totally get it, because you're hearing stuff. People have trouble hearing stuff when they grow up thinking something else because of their childhood and other whatevers. And that can be a tough thing, because now, like you said, you got to regenerate, and then, like you said, end up on a high note. And then there's the other side where somebody's honoring you, and let's take that family, because that's all face to face, all right. And if somebody's honoring you and the person honoring gets broken up, and, just remembering the moments why they're in the place they are right now, talking about what they are, that's got to go both ways, right?
Well, and it can. And here's the beautiful thing is that, that was kind of hard for her to hear. And then she came around, but it all got totally healed when it was her opportunity to honor someone else. She did
Oh,
this
sure.
beautiful job of honoring this wonderful other woman that just, and seriously, honoring other people helps us learn to honor ourselves. And it is a sacred circle. It absolutely is. And I love this question. Could honoring storytelling help bridge political or cultural divides? Absolutely, it does.
Hold on. Before, and yes, I've been waiting for this. I was actually going to read it, but I can't see squat. I mean, these are like number 6 or 8 or 10 if they were readers. So
I understand.
Thank you for jumping in there and covering me. Bad timing. I love this. Politics is a big deal because that's what affects. At the end of the day,
yes,
they run our lives.
And again,
now, we need to make the right people in there for us to make sure they provide for our lives. But back to what you're saying.
Yes, and so it absolutely does. I mean, I am such a peacemaker, and that has a lot to do, obviously, with politics. And here's the thing, again, positive forms of play, appreciation, encouragement, and support lead to friendship. Friendship leads to trust. And until we have trust, we ain't got nothing. But once we have trust, then we can move to peace and harmony. And I see this in the workplace. A lot of companies will say, hey, we're going to give our people a 2-hour lunch. We're going to provide them lunch for an hour. And then we're going to let this wonderful woman do her little storytelling thing. And sometimes we break them into couples, but people find ways to honor each other with my simple format, and it leads to peace and harmony and deeper appreciation amongst employees, and the employers think I'm, heaven on earth. And really it's the honoring that's so incredibly beautiful. And yes, every now and again you find people who, due to anxiety, might not want to participate. That's why it's good to do it in a group format. So I demonstrate the process. Who wants to be first? I demonstrate it until somebody else is ready to go, yeah, I'm ready to try that. And the beautiful thing about the prompts is that we just kind of do a random number generator, 1 to 66. I have 66 prompts that I love. A lot of people love. They can write their own. And then they can pick 2 or 3 different prompts and decide the one that they would prefer you make up an honoring story about. And so you're not just stuck with anything, you can get to choose what feels right for you. Yes.
Yeah, be a little more creative in that. And you said that the employer or the boss or whatever the structure of that company is, that scene you just described is that I totally, I get, right? Anybody running business would get it, because if you have, I talk about a healthy great middle class, or a happy great middle class creates a healthy America, right?
Yes.
So same thing with a company. It's the same thing. You've got the vision, or the leaders, and the things that the rest of the employees need to carry on that vision. So you need both to be in sync with themselves in the right place. But then you have relationships, especially the bigger the company. Little companies have less, because you're talking to you all day long, and it either works or it doesn't, that pretty quick. But in bigger companies, things are hidden in shadows sometimes. And when you start this program, I'm just visioning this. You're explaining it awesome, by the way, because even I can get it. And if I can get it, any of these guys can get it. I'm telling you, that's why I'm here, because I'm the safety net. If I get it, everybody around's got it. No doubt. So, but a company's job or existence or reason for being is to be able to make revenue so that it continues its glorious whatever product or idea that it has. And with that, but even deeper than that, sometimes you're sitting in cubicles with 2 or 3 people around that you just kind of take it for granted. You're doing your work, they have a thing, right. You meet at the water cooler, so to speak, here and there. But this program, all of a sudden, it makes me honor you. So now I'm actually thinking about the advantages.
Yes.
which is great for the company, because now there's another level, not only of connection, but of appreciation. Well, the other way around, a little bit of appreciation, because they probably know what they, to a degree, what they do, but also now it's a connection because there's another connection. Oh,
Yes.
the
And
questions are coming in.
yeah, most
Hold on,
importantly, it's
real quick.
not.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to jump off like I did before. Usually I tell people ahead of time. You reacted awesome. I was waiting for you to go, something went on. Because whenever I don't get to tell somebody that, okay, so I'm going to jump off. I've got a lot of questions coming in. I want to set this in the area that you're talking. And there's some great stuff here. Go on, please.
So what I love about the honoring, we have all those key words, and it's not just about what we do in the workplace. It's about who we are. It's about the loyalty that the caregiver and the dedication that they bring, to the opportunity. And yes, some people are reluctant to speak. They don't need to speak. They don't need to share, but they can be honored. So at the beginning, we say, who wants to participate? So honoring those people who are shy and reluctant, and then watching everyone else honoring each other, eventually most of them come around. And whether they just go home and do it in private, it doesn't matter.
I haven't had the chance, but there's, we like to shout out people here, right? So, Leah, thank you very much. That is an awesome question because it makes a lot of sense. We're all different.
Yes.
I wouldn't have any problem sharing. I don't think you'd have any problem sharing. And, to be that one, hey, I'll talk. And then there's 30% of the crowd at least that is like, oh shit, I hope they don't call on me.
And again, I don't call on anybody. It's up to you.
No, but you know what I mean.
That's what's so beautiful about it. And, I've been to events where I just did consistent honoring of people until someone was ready to, take the dive. And
Makes
sometimes
sense.
In families, it takes a while, but then they invite me back and they're all ready to honor at a later time.
Exactly, because they kind of bring those endorphins start flowing, right?
Yes.
And you feel what's happening, and then that draws your body in. Randall, thank you so much for what you're saying here. It does feel good, right? And people don't think about it.
And here's the thing I want to say to our lovely friend Randall is that, I have created 22 honoring awards, and there's a little video of me sharing the titles for all of those on my website, honoringevents.com. And the one award that makes people call me crying the most is the Honorary Caregiver Award, because caregiving is so hard. It is so demanding. Yeah. The award, which has the distinction of
emotional.
Oh,
and
truly.
Emotional.
Oh, they cry. We cry together. They're like, I'm not perfect, and it's really hard, but I can't believe somebody sent me this honoring award anonymously. And here's the thing about when you send someone an honoring award anonymously, they have to look around their life and think of all the wonderful people that could have sent it. Was it their neighbor, their sister, their brother, their coworker, their grandma? And it really makes me super, super happy. What advice would you give someone who wants to start their first honoring event? So what you do is you go to Etsy.com, shop Evolving Genius Awards, and you download the program. If there is a special milestone event, which sometimes there are, my Honoring Tributes program is very simple for honoring people
like
for
marriage,
retirements.
For what?
Okay. Birthdays, any kind of milestone achievement. And then the honoring storytelling, you can either download the Honoring Improv program or the Noble Storytellers and Wisdom Keepers. And I'm telling you, the seniors love this stuff. They love bringing it to their families and friends. A lot of them have time, they have money, they want fundraisers, they want connection, they want what's genuine, and they want to share their wisdom with each other and in their families.
Heck yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Now I can't argue that at all, but is there, you mentioned the awards?
Yes.
I'm kind of just drilling through this to, get the picture because we're not on the site. We're not on the shops
Right.
area. But there's the awards, and then there's the
Programs.
download programs.
Yes.
And are they different, or do you have programs that here's an award, and based on that, here's our program? They're totally different.
They are different. However, my Noble Storytellers and Wisdom Keepers, I always give away Wisdom Keeper Awards. My Wisdom Keeper Awards are wonderful, especially when I work with seniors. They love them. The honoring tributes, you may decide to give a Childlike Wonder Award to somebody who's embracing retirement, and that's your little blessing for them. So you can buy them individually or separately. The honoring awards, though, go really well with the honoring tributes program, especially. What advice would you give someone who wants to start their first honoring event? Download it.
We didn't get there, right? I kind of brought back, we kind of stepped back into something. I just want to make sure Randall's handled here because he's commenting quite a bit.
Together. Bring your people together. Start at, honoring starts at home, and who knows better how to honor you than your family and your friends. Bring those people together and say, hey, this is a new thing. I want to test drive it. I think honoring is important. You read through the simple directions. You read through the directions for printing. You print it out and you just go for it. And that's what I love about my programs, is that you have no idea how many journeyman hours, thesis hours I have spent on this, because I have made it as simple as possible, and yet all the things that come together to make it a creative endeavor. The visionary prompts, the wisdom words, the beginning sentences, the game names are really fun too. The honoring awards are really fun.
Wait. What's a game name?
They're a lot of fun. So, anonymous instigator, favorite humble pie. We just have a ton of different ones. Rainbow goddess. It doesn't matter, but they're fun.
To keep them anonymous is what
and just to keep
you use a fun name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Just to keep it fun, especially when I'm working in like a pub or a party that has alcohol. Sometimes I don't want people to know my name at the pub.
This is not vodka. It's water.
So, it's nice to be able to be, the elegant enchantress instead, or someone else, favorite humble pie, whatever. So game names are a lot of fun. You can make them up. You can make them up for the person being honored with an honoring tribute. You can make up one for yourself. And honoring tributes, people usually pick an award from the list of awards that they could imagine that person getting, whether it's a lifelong learning award, a certificate of sainthood, a loving kindness award, childlike wonder. All those are listed on my website, honoringevents.com.
Wow. Hey, by the way, we still got quite a number of questions here and so forth, but we're starting to get, I know how this rolls, right? I've been doing it a little bit. So do not forget, in the private chat, I obviously you saying it is perfect. I mean, that's why we're here. We're here for a reason. That's our mission. Our mission, and carrying that forward. And then this is how I carry it. This is how you carry it. And all that comes together, build up everything we've been talking about in this message today. But there's a private chat over there. I don't know why you can't just put it in the comments. I don't know, but it's the technology. They don't. Anyway, put it in the private chat. I'll copy and paste it in the comments.
Great. Well, I love this next question. What's the best way to introduce this to a skeptical audience?
You kind of went over that. Well, I was going to say you kind of went over this a little bit, but you want to dig a little deeper for Jack, because I get it.
Well, here's the thing, Jack. Like I did a lecture for the Mensa group, and they were the rudest. Wow. They were the rudest people I've ever encountered. They were very, very rude to me. And I mean, I was really pretty shocked. I love this. I love the quote, "The mind creates the abyss and the heart crosses it." Because that's exactly what happened. They were all in their heads about, well, some people aren't honorable and da. Well, when I started actually demonstrating it, and when the people started getting honored and opening up their hearts just a little bit and getting outside of their heads, It made a huge difference. Honoring opens the heart. It comes from a very authentic place. And what's fascinating is the things that you start honoring in other people, you realize that there are things you honor in yourself. And then you start opening up a little bit more and become even better at honoring. And that's when the intuitive appreciation, encouragement, and support of people really comes to the forefront.
I still am trying to get through some of these messages, but
Yes.
I've got to take you off of your message here. I've got to say, are you from the South some point in
No.
your life?
No.
Where's that Southern? Where's that coming from? Look, I'm honest in what I'm saying, because if you ever watch many of the shows, I have this fixation or fascination. Fixation, no, that sounds dirty, but I have this fascination with accents, because I guess I'm dealing in voice all the time, and awesome names, and you got both going on plus the vibe. So, where are you from?
Well, I'm actually from Utah originally, and it's funny because when I get my sassy part going, I
just heard it.
And I've noticed
that it again.
Myself, and I have no idea why my little Southern belle gets kind of sassy, but she does.
Okay, so you know why I asked the damn question, right? I mean, come on, I pick up on that stuff. I'm like, ooh, I like that. Hold on, I got to talk to her. All right, go on with, now we're getting into some self-esteem, what we talked about earlier, where you honoring somebody brings that out in them, especially the
and in you.
Exactly.
This is a beautiful question. How does honoring improve our self-esteem over time? When you look for the positive, when you look for the good, and when you express it, that's the foundation of self-love. When you are kind, when you are loving, when you are generous, when you are looking for the good in other people, everybody wins. Again, when we take our honoring, our laughter, and our applause seriously, everyone wins, and we create everlasting happy memories. I cannot tell you the power of honoring other people and how much enrichment and joy it has brought to my life and other people as well. Yes, it is truly what the world needs now is love, sweet love. That's the only thing that there's just too little of, as the song says.
I referenced that song in a show a couple of days ago. What the world needs now. That's a great song, and it's so true.
Song. And sometimes with honoring improv, I've actually integrated song titles or song lines. Exactly like that one.
That is awesome, man. What age groups respond most? I got to think it's got to be that. Well, there's the teenage kind of funky, weird years. There's the baby years, which is, I see these videos every now and then. And I saw this one where this young mom, was leaning over in the kitchen, leaning over a granite surface thing, and sitting right next to her is her. I think it was a boy. It is a boy, and he's probably 8 months ish. Just baby, but just see, and he's sitting there, and he's got this look of I'm so. And the caption says. I can't remember it exactly, but this is love. A man's first love, or a man who fell in love with the woman who fell in love with him first, and that look on his face. It's so. I mean, you could see how much that felt. Her taking that in. I mean, the baby was freaking out, loving, just big smile, and then she'd laugh and he'd like even get more smile. And this mom captured it, and that's the essence of what you're talking about.
Yes,
that was honoring right there, man.
Yes, it's all about energy and vibration. So even the people who are shut down, even the little kids that don't know exactly what it is you're talking about, the energy of love, the energy of gratitude, appreciation, encouragement, and support. We are all here to thrive with love, with joy, with support, with service, and everybody gets it. It's a vibe too, and it's the vibe that makes people want to share. It's the vibe that makes people want to fully receive. And what's cool about this is people buy the program once and they can do every honoring tribute event with that program. They can do the honoring storytelling once a week, however often that they want. Same thing with the companies. They can go, hey, we're doing this once a month because this is really fun. And our people have never been happier. The cost of a 2-hour lunch and this program is super, super fun. And my goal is to give this to the youth, my legacy of programs, and I want them to make it even better.
So you think the youth is like what Rott is saying here? You think the youth is going to be, well, obviously, because they'll start younger and build a generation of next level. Who do your feedback, your marketing, your whatever, where does that acceptance come the most? Do you see any of those numbers?
Yeah, I saw a t-shirt that the young people are wearing now that says kindness is the new cool. A lot of these young people have evolved parents like we are, or grandparents like we are. And they get it. Everyone responds to love. Babies, everyone of any age responds to, and the teenagers need appreciation, encouragement, and support.
Exactly.
And when they get it, that's how they thrive. That's how we all thrive. Absolutely. That's how we thrive.
That's an interesting twist. Right. Yesterday I was talking about to a subject, and we were talking about this isolation and, will AI create more and all this. And I remembered back to the youngest son I raised, is just a few years back. He's in the military now. All my sons are beyond that age wise, and he's at Leavenworth, loving life, but probably, and I say all that because probably going back when he was in high school, I think juniorish year, so it's worse now. So in that time, it was him and a buddy. I think one was a girlfriend and another, but there was a few of them sitting on the couch. We had the screen, the TV. They're sitting on the couch, and they're all doing this. There's a baseball game going on. He is still, but was a great baseball athlete. And they're all doing this, on their phones, right. and doing the, and I go, whoa, hey, I was watching it for a while. I was making a sandwich or something, and it just kept going on and on and on. And all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell? And so I said, Matt, what are you guys doing? You're sitting next to each other.
Right.
Why are you? And you know what he said? He said, we are talking to each other.
Right.
That's how they talk to each other.
Right.
Next to each other. That's crazy. So that was my first experience of really connecting with what you're talking about in
one-on-one
thing. Yeah.
Person to person. It's really important. And the other thing I have to say is the simplest, most affordable way to honor people is by sending them an honoring award. And to get something in the mail with your name on it and in writing. People love those little awards. And what's beautiful, like if you get a loving kindness award, there's no name on it. So you receive it and then you can pass it on. The caregivers can't wait to pass on their beautiful awards to other caregivers. That's the beautiful thing. People get them in the mail. They feel special. It's got your name on the envelope and you can read it and reread it. And I actually had someone call me who knew of a teenager who was suicidal. One of their very best friends sent them an honoring award. They called me up crying and said, you won't believe what happened. It not only did it make this person feel good about themselves for a minute, but the mystery of who might have sent it totally put their mind and their emotional impact in a whole different direction. And I hear stories like this and I know that they're true. I can feel it in the voices of the people who call me and say, wow, I get this. This is powerful.
Yeah. And I keep thinking of this point on the edges of what you're talking about, saying it all. To me, sending something anonymously to somebody who really needs it. You were talking about somebody that, some of us have been there, and without support, there's reasons you're still here, right? And it made me think about when that happens, is received to somebody, and no matter how much, then right, how important, it's always important.
Yes.
But when somebody receives that, them not knowing who,
Yep.
broadens the joy,
It does.
broadens the because Auntie May sent it to me. She's so sweet, but I'm still fucked up. But who sent this to me? It just gives a little, I like to use this word, a little color in between the layers.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Well
Grateful
said.
to, thank you very much. Grateful very much. Glad to be here live. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for your wisdom. He's not talking about me, so that's about you.
Could be. You get it. You get what I'm talking about, and it is so important.
100%.
And everybody, I've always been a very honoring person, and I realize that a lot of people assume I have some agenda. People have actually said to me, "Why are you so nice to me?
Agenda.
Why are you so nice to me?" And I'm like, "Well, because you deserve someone nice, and I'm a nice person, or whatever." But doing it anonymously, I'll tell you, there is magic. There is magic in the big question mark of wondering who
100%.
has been so kind to you.
Exactly. Thank you for putting more color into the layers, because that's exactly right. Because that wondering is soft. It's, there's a lot of emotions we have and stuff in our bodies, because like there's vibes. You said, I get it. Oh yeah, hell yeah, I get it. I'm just, all I'm doing is shining a spotlight right behind you, because I get it, man. It's not like, don't keep this in the dark. This needs to continue on, because we can get into the whole other side of things of how nature, when you're at moments you need to be grounded, take off your shoes, go in the grass. I'm not a hippie. I was born in the 60s, so I came out of that era. So that, I say we lean in the middle. We are in the middle, lean here and lean there. It's because this show has given so much opportunity to meet people like you, to have that guidance, and that and not just, hey, I'm going to pop on, I'm on NBC News, I'm going to pop on and give you the talking points for about 7-8 minutes. We got a commercial we got to break to. Right. This is the kind of stuff people don't get, except now these shows are coming on, and I love what Danny says here. So glad I tuned in. This show lifts the soul. And that's exactly what you do. Why don't you give a big wave to all your fan club here? I need you to remember, put that in the private chat. And what's your closing thoughts here? I mean, there's some, we all feel the vibe right now. I feel it. I know I know you feel it, but listen to these guys. The vibe is, oh, wow. Right? Soak it in. It's very good. And there's no fantasy about that. It's just that we're finally, through things like this, learning more about the world that we never knew existed as a mass.
Yes.
You knew it, but now I'm talking too much. A couple of people dropped out. Just a second ago, while you were still talking, there was 364 people there. They know about this now. The other, okay, I'm going to quit talking. They keep falling like flies. Why don't you give us a final thought and, wave goodbye to your fans before I drive them all off the screen and you're just waving to 2 or 3 people. Give us that, send out, and then I'll throw you in the green room, chat a little bit afterwards. Let's stay in touch, and then I'll close out the show with a couple of things I need to do.
Great.
Talk to us.
So when we take our honoring, our laughter, and our applause seriously, we create everlasting happy memories together, and everyone wins. It's absolutely true. And when you honor other people, you learn to honor yourself. And when you learn to honor yourself and other people simultaneously, that's where the magic happens. That's where the shift happens. And that's where authenticity comes into reality. And my poem, Honoring Builds a Circle of Nobility, people come to me after my programs and say, your message is so authentic. And I know it's because that
Love
poem
that word.
really expresses how I feel about honoring. and how important it is. And so I'm looking forward to sending you an honoring award, and with a list of all of my awards and with my poem as well.
Put that information in the private chat. And I'm not kidding you. As soon as you started talking, a few more people came back, said, okay. Well, we'll get off the other show. Let's go back. What she got to say, where she. So put that information in the private chat. I will immediately copy and paste it over whatever information you want. In other words, the WWWs and
Sure.
any other that will help them connect with you.
Wonderful.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you all so much.
That was as expected. We got you out just in time. As soon as you said that, and I started talking, there must be some fly spray in the air, and they're just dropping. I got a couple back there. Anyway, I know these guys, they love what you're doing. They love that message. Keep, like the episode, subscribe to us, and let's keep this mission going. I think we're at about 20 new subscribers a day. And because that message is getting, it's like I say this too often, Perel, the old Perel commercial. So yes, the world needs love. But you remember when the Perel commercial, it was, and two more, and then it started multiplying. We need to get this stuff continuing. This is a movement. It's going into a movement, and we're getting a lot of feedback about that, and it's very exciting. Of course, I mean, you love that. We started Constitution Day in September last year. We expand. Long story. You've been here, you know. If you know, you know. I think we got all the questions here, and I didn't see producer Barbie here, but next show in about, I don't know, it's 1:30, in an hour and 15 minutes is really interesting. It's kind of building off of what we're talking here with Iris about, and it's the point being the message is to create an inner self that's worthy of being a partner or of somebody else. We need to be worthy of that, them, whatever. I usually talk about that in a relationship, but it goes beyond that. You need to be worthy. You need to be official, authentic. And I know that for sure because I haven't been. I'd say for over half my life, but I'd be lying. More like about, I'm 63, more like about 59 of them. And to a point where something happened that we all know about, and why these messages are so important to me. Why I bring these messages, because I know how important these messages are from personal experience. Everybody who connects with that has that, but maybe we can have that released before what some people go through. And as Iris talked about, even to the point of people considering to take their own lives. A lot going on there. And then tomorrow we have the Veterans Administration on, the local one. I was driving. Give me a couple more minutes, Iris. Here I am. I do my thing. I was driving, and I haven't been able to do this for a while. I keep forgetting, but I was driving down 34, going to get something to eat or something from the office, and all of a sudden I see this van. You know how they have the wraps around vans for different company names and this and that, and they're really cool looking. So I saw it, and it was Veterans Affairs. Yeah, you know, my dad was he's passed away, but he spent 22 years in the Marines. I just mentioned Matt a little bit ago. He's in the Army. You know, the armies are badass, and he's what do they call him? Police. You know, he's working in the jail at Leavenworth right now, and so pretty cool stuff there. But so I saw that, and I went, wow. Oh, my uncle Tom too, my dad's brother. 3 tours in Nam, man. We all know how Nam was. But anyway, I saw that, and so I took a picture because I wanted. This was for local. I didn't know this, and maybe every other state's this way. And my dad, actually, producer Barbie and I spent a lot of time working with the VA for things that we're very serious about, and it woke us up. And when the first Trump administration started talking about that, I think that caught a lot of people's ears because it's not all that. Now that those are 2 different things. But did you know that these guys have offices with specialists and outreach people in by Illinois law, maybe everywhere, I don't know. Illinois law, they have to have an office in each county, staffed office in each county. I thought that was pretty cool. That's got to be an improvement over time. This isn't brand new. I get it. But I don't know enough about it. So I reached out to him finally after like 3-4 weeks, and I didn't know what to say. I don't usually call companies and say, "Hey, you want to come on my show?" So I reached out to him, and I just happened to reach the right guy for outreach, as they call them, outreach officers, and they're all past vets in various forms, and so or wives of military, Navy mom, I think is what the one title was underneath her title that she does for the organization in this office. So that's very exciting. That's tomorrow. And like I said, later today, building on what Iris's message is, only in that it's about empowering children, kidpreneurs. That's kind of catchy if you say it a couple of times. So we're on a mission to get to 100,000. We're going to get there, and I made you guys a promise when we get there, probably a little bit before, but I'm actually going to be able to create some aesthetics here where I don't have, I'm just screwing around with. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. I don't want to change the angle of the camera, but I mean, we've got lights over here. It's a pretty cool little thing. Just been fiddling around with it, but at some point, we're gonna keep this content and improve on it as every guest. Wow, you guys are hanging in there. Damn, thank you so much. As every guest that comes on brings amazing and critical information. We have guests that are on the Oprah show talking about design. What does Barbie call it? Where you set water items or chairs or different items to create a space to be able to redraw from your energy, but also let go of the things that need resting from. So we've got some really cool stuff. The guy yesterday, the guy doing the piano, I asked him if he would. So he set up his laptop on his piano, and we had a camera going to his hands, and we had a camera going to him, and then me. So every once in a while, there's 3 people on stage, which was kind of neat. And then so he's played with some of the biggest bands and has had several bands. He's kind of right up there as far as you'll know who he is, and he has a lot of help. He uses his music to support many different causes. I want to get him and Joe Heap together, as you know, is a friend of mine, has a band out in LA, and he has the same mission. There's a lot of these missions that are out there, and it's so good that we're getting together. We're dialing into the things that we now know that are there, and Insights and Straight Talk isn't the only platform. I think we got into our ability to chat with people at the right time because it's really needed. But there's a lot of platforms out there like Insights and Straight Talk. And I'm Rod Duff. Producer Barbie, she's out in California. but she's here all the time because I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.